Now, do you know what pickleball is? Because Pickleball England are staging their first pop-up event this evening, and we can find out more by speaking to a former British tennis #1, because Johanna Konta joins us this evening on Sky Sports News. She's at the pop-up event, and I believe it's very lively, Johanna, so we'll do our best to make ourselves heard. First of all, I mean, pickleball is a new name to a lot of us, a new sport. Can you tell us what it is?
It's a fun sport, I'll tell you that. It's basically it's a ball and racket sport, which is actually really easy to pick up, as opposed to maybe tennis, which can be quite tricky as a beginner. I think pickleball is a really good entry-level kind of racket ball sport to get into, and it's a lot of fun. I only really found out about the sport a year ago, and I've been trying to play end of last year a lot, but this is the first time I'm playing this year so far. But it's a lot of fun.
Johanna, I mean, how tough of a game is pickleball to play when compared to tennis?
Well, I think it's one of those that it's probably as tough as you make it. However, I will have to say that if you play it well, obviously it gets tougher. But what's really great about pickleball is you don't have to come into it with a lot of ability to enjoy it. I think that's the biggest advantage that it has for it, is you can play as a beginner and enjoy the sport. Whereas a lot of other sports, you have to get to a certain level before you can maybe start enjoying it that much.
It's a new sport for a lot of us. Paddle, of course, is growing rapidly as well, Johanna Konta. You must be encouraged as well, Johanna, because, you know, with the tennis background, that so many people seem to be picking up racket sports at the moment.
There's obviously been a really big movement in I guess the diversification of racket and ball sports, which is great as a tennis player, because I feel like I have more options to now play kind of in retirement, different racket sports. I do have to say I prefer pickleball to paddle. You know, with paddle you have the whole squash element, which really threw me. So for me, pickleball is more my cup of tea.
And of course, Johanna, we've got Wimbledon coming up shortly. I mean, the grass season is in full swing. What do you make of the news that Andy Murray and Jamie Murray will be joining up for the doubles at Wimbledon this summer?
That's really exciting. I mean, you know, I'd like to think it's hopefully with a hint towards maybe an Olympic duo from them for Team GB. I don't know, yeah, no, I think we'll all be really excited just to see Andy on court as much as possible throughout the grass season, but at Wimbledon especially. But it's a great time to be a tennis fan, a sports fan, the British summer, and it's a great time for British tennis players. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the Brits playing.
Yeah, Johanna, on Andy, you know, we know that we've got to make the most of his final months, or however long it is, before he decides to hang up his racket. How different is it when, you know, he knows that announcement from himself is coming soon? How different mentally is that, you know, when he knows he's going to be calling it a day soon? Is it different? Is it difficult for him playing matches now, or will he just be trying to savour every moment?
I assume there'll be some bittersweetness in when you play in the latter stages, the final stages of your career. You know, I think we have to be conscious that he hasn't specifically said exactly when he's hanging up the racket, and we all know that Andy loves the comeback story, and you never count him out. He's never down and out. So I think we kind of should give him that respect and that space of whenever he does decide to call it a day. And like you said, to really enjoy the time we have left of him. Obviously, bless the man, he's not getting younger, no one is, so at some point he will be retiring, but what a career, and yeah, really enjoy this last part of his career.
And talking about incredible careers, I mean, what about Rafael Nadal? I mean, he's set to miss Wimbledon this year, prioritising the Olympics, of course. We know he'll be teaming up with Carlos Alcaraz at the Olympics in the doubles for Spain. I mean, should we just hand him the gold now?
The what? Sorry, I didn't hear that last bit.
Should we just hand them the gold medal at the Olympics now? Because, you know, they would be a potential pairing to be up for gold at the Olympics, surely.
Well, I think any player, and especially these greats, that will be going into an Olympic game looking to hopefully get an Olympic gold medal. I believe Rafa already has an Olympic gold medal, so that he hasn't got much to prove anywhere. But to be honest, I think it was so impressive to see Rafa also at the French Open in the way he was able to say how pleased he was just to be back there and playing. I think we really have to savor these moments with these greats, because they really gave something that we might never see again, or not for at least a century. These great players. So the longer they're playing, the better.
Absolutely, Johanna. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the pickleball event tonight.
Thank you.
Pickleball England is staging its first pop-up event this evening, and we can now join former British tennis #1 Greg Rusedski to tell us more about it. Well, Greg, thanks for joining us. We had Johanna Konta on in the last hour, and she was telling us what pickleball is. It's going to be a new sport to a lot of people. Firstly, what do you think of it?
Well, I love pickleball. You see a lot of ex-tennis players, especially in America, get onto the pro tour. You have Jack Sock, who's one of the best in the world, and it's a sport that I think is very sociable. Whether you're 8 years old or 88 years old, you can play this sport, and I think it's just a fantastic game. And today is the first ever pickleball slam. We're trying to get more indoor centers and places to play, so it's been a really enjoyable evening.
Greg, people have played tennis. Many people have had a go at paddle, which is on the rise in this country at the moment. What about pickleball then? How does that compare to those two sports?
Well, I find paddle is a little bit more taxing on the body. I'm not a fan of walls, to be quite honest with you. I get a little claustrophobic, and the nice thing about the pickleball court is we can see the players behind us. It's the size of a badminton court. You put down a net, it's very sociable. You can still get the feels and the touches in there, and I think that's the difference. So these are sports that are coming along: tennis, paddle, and pickleball. And I think pickleball is a sport that's going to grow exponentially over the next few years.
Now, Greg, of course, the grass season is in full swing. Wimbledon's on the horizon. Of course, we've got Andy Murray and Jamie Murray set to team up in the doubles for the first time at a Grand Slam. Given Andy's coming towards the end of his career, how special will that be for them?
Oh, what a moment to have both brothers playing together at Wimbledon. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. I think this will probably most likely be Andy Murray's last ever Wimbledon championships, and to go out with his brother, who is not only one of his best friends, a #1 doubles player in the world, and he got to #1 in singles as well, two-time Wimbledon champion. Both won Wimbledon, one in singles, one in doubles. What more could you ask for? Could you imagine if they had a dream run and managed to get to the finals and win Wimbledon in doubles? That would be something really special. And we hope Andy can perform well in the singles as well. So really looking forward to Wimbledon this year.
Greg, just on Andy, as you said, could well be his last Wimbledon. That's the general expectation. How hard is it when you know that day is coming when you're going to hang up your racket, you're going to make the announcement? How difficult is it knowing when the time is right to make that call and make it public?
I think it's hard for any sportsman or sportswoman to make that decision. For me, personally, it was an easy decision. I'd actually torn my labrum in my hip. I went to a challenger event, and the players I was losing to ended up being top 10 players: Songa, Cilic, Gulbis, guys like that. And I just thought to myself, I just had my first child born, my daughter Scarlett, and I decided, okay, I don't want to travel the world anymore. So from a personal point of view, and I think I got everything out of my tennis. For Andy, he's always felt he could always do something more and something extra, and he fought through 2 hip surgeries, 1 back surgery, and then you've got to say, okay, do I want to keep on doing this day in, day out? And I know he's working exceptionally hard, so it's a difficult decision for any sportsman, but once you make that choice to retire, life's pretty good afterwards.
Now, Greg, Wimbledon likely won't feature any of the big three, Federer, Nadal and Djokovic, for the first time since 1999. How much of a blow is that for the tournament?
Well, I think Djokovic is the main disappointment because of the fact that he did his meniscus in his knee, and that's a little bit disappointing. But if you look at it, we've got Alcaraz and Sinner. Sinner won the Australian Open. Alcaraz just won the French Open. If those two guys are healthy, that will be the new rivalry. Yes, we'll miss the big three, as they call them. But every year, tennis gets better and better, and there's always going to be new names. So we're very fortunate to have those two guys playing. So I think Wimbledon will still be a fantastic tournament.
Yeah, and you mentioned Alcaraz there winning at Roland-garros the other week, teaming up with Rafael Nadal at the Olympics in the doubles, Greg. Should we just hand them the gold medal now, shall we?
I mean, what a magical moment that would be, because Rafa as well is near the end, and I think the Olympics might be Rafa's last ever tournament. So with Alcaraz and Nadal playing doubles, they would love to go out, hold the gold medal together, and that'll be a fitting way for Rafa to go out. It's almost like he's saying, okay, I'm passing the baton on to the next generation of Spaniards. You know, and Alcaraz has already been #1 in the world, and he won the French Open. So there's a lot of exciting tennis coming up, but also there's a lot of sadness because we're losing a few greats of the game.
Absolutely, Greg. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of the event.